Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. Carmelo Anthony trial started yesterday. This is going to be our day one wrap up, day one recap, give you a high view of what actually happened. Let's start with Fox News. Let's go.
Welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Always great to be with you as we continue to roll on. Next up, we want to talk about a trial that is just getting going in Texas. This is really a story that first broke, of course, last year. It really took not only Texas, but really the rest of the country by storm here, learning that Carmelo Anthony is facing his murder trial in the April 2025 stabbing death of Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet that happened in Texas. There was a disagreement, an argument, and then the incident happened. But what is unique in this case is that the suspect is claiming self-defense. And we'll get into that and so much more. But I want to bring in our next guest to help break it all down. Please welcome, everyone, Jacqueline Goodman, attorney and legal analyst. Great to have you on. And yeah, this is a case that the suspect is not denying what he did, but saying that this is all because of self-defense.
That's going to be hard,
yes,
man.
Hi, good to see you again. Thank you for having me. Yeah, from the beginning, apparently there were statements made by Carmelo Anthony saying that, well, besides the question that he was asking officers, is this self-defense? But he also made other statements talking about the fact that he was in fear for his own life, et cetera. And so, yes, there are real questions about whether self-defense is going to be something that the defense puts on. And by the way, in Texas, unlike in other jurisdictions, self-defense is something that has to have some evidence, but it doesn't even have to come from the defense side. Just something about the case is giving the defense some articulation of self-defense, and then the burden shifts again to the prosecution to disprove self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt.
And so is this a big uphill battle for the defense team to prove this self-defense? I mean, if you don't have video showing an incident or maybe audio, how do you get across to the jury to say that your client is not guilty here?
Yeah.
Couple of things I would say about that. First of all, and I don't know if it's true, but in the media, we've seen some claims now that there may be video of the actual event, which would be a pretty stunning development. But no one has seen it outside of the trial court. The other thing I would say is that, yes, it's always going to be an uphill battle. This is something that happens in a very short amount of time. It was a matter of seconds. There's going to be questions given that the victim was unarmed at the time. There's going to be real questions about whether a reasonable person in Anthony's shoes would feel the need to use deadly force, and whether in fact he personally felt that he needed to use deadly force. So it isn't an easy climb for a defendant ever. And in this case, there's some real questions about the lead up to this and whether there was any real evidence that somebody in his shoes would feel like they were really threatened and had to resort to deadly force.
What about the process here for jury selection? How are you going to find jury members that have not heard about this case or have a feeling about it one way or the other? I only say that because a former judge in this case that was part of the pretrial motions here, he had to get FBI help to intervene and give him security because he was getting threats against his life.
This is crazy.
Yeah, we've seen lots and lots of counter-protesting going on outside of the courthouse and in the lead up to this case. So there's a real question about whether you can find a jury in this jurisdiction who, first of all, maybe hasn't heard of the case, but if they had heard of the case, hadn't yet made up their minds. This is a very polarizing issue. However, and there's some real racial undertones when it comes to the protests and the facts of the case. That said, all you need are 12 people who have not yet made up their minds. And so that's what jury selection is all about. It's about finding people who can come in, listen to the evidence, apply the law that the judge gives them, and set aside any of their own biases, and really make a decision based on the information that the judge gives them, get those jury instructions, and really make an honest assessment of the quantum of evidence and whether the prosecution has proved their case beyond a reasonable doubt.
And lastly, here, how much is are we going to hear about the history of these two, and maybe what kind of was the setting off point and of this whole altercation?
It's funny. We don't know everything about the case. And so that's the beauty of trials. They're very dynamic in that way. And we're going to see the facts develop as the case goes on. But I will say that so far, there's really nothing in the public sphere that tells us that there was an ongoing beef, that either of them really knew each other. Both of them, Metcalf and Anthony, were actually star athletes at their schools. They were beloved in both of their communities. And there's very little to discern from the information coming in that either of them knew much about the other going into this one incident where it, in a matter of seconds, results in a death. And so, yes, it's a stunning turn of events in this case. And it's going to be really interesting to see whether, in fact, there was any kind of history between the two of them.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why we wait to see what the evidence plays out in court. And we'll be continuing to break it all down as the info comes out. But Jacqueline, thanks so much for coming on here on Live Now from Fox, giving us some great insight.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, so shout out to Fox Live or Live Fox Now. We're going to jump over to a content creator. Actually, I got two of them. We're going to probably be tapping in with them all throughout this trial. So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to jump in and start with Savannah Hernandez. And she was there at the Collin County Courthouse yesterday. Let's hear what she had to say. Let's go.
This is Savannah Hernandez in front of the Collin County Courthouse in McKinney, Texas for day one of the KARMELO Anthony trial. Now, today and tomorrow is jury selection, and opening arguments for this trial are not until Thursday if the jury can be selected on time. Now, to give you guys an idea of what has already happened so far, this morning you had somebody who was kicked out of the courthouse for trying to film potential jurors, and you already had protesters here on behalf of both Austin Metcalf and KARMELO Anthony, with the protesters for KARMELO Anthony coming out in greater numbers. Now, some quick pointers on this trial. What is not being discussed is whether or not KARMELO Anthony actually murdered Austin Metcalf. He has already admitted to that, stating that he acted in self-defense. But what is being debated is whether or not KARMELO Anthony acted in self-defense or whether he committed murder. Now, interesting caveat as well, because KARMELO Anthony was only 17 years old when the killing occurred, he is ineligible for the death penalty. So even if he is found guilty, the maximum sentence that he's going to get is life in prison. Now, KARMELO Anthony is already facing a first-degree murder charge and was initially held on a $1 million bond that he did petition to get reduced to $250,000. He cited financial difficulties, and a Collin County judge ended up reducing that for him. So he has since been on house arrest and out on bond after being issued that. Now, a lot of the controversy in this case did surround the GoFundMe that was created by KARMELO Anthony's family. Now, the family raised over $500,000, and it was found out that they were living in a home that was almost $1 million. A neighbor alleged that they had bought a new vehicle, and a family spokesperson stated that they were going to be utilizing these funds for security, legal defense, and also for the fight against white supremacy, stating that the criticism, the harassment, and threats that KARMELO Anthony were receiving after the stabbing incident were a direct result of white supremacy and racism in the nation. Now, simultaneously, the Metcalf family was also dealing with quite a bit of harassment and threats as well, and they were swatted 3 separate times, just to give you guys a reminder of what happened in the lead up to this case. Now, again, there have been extremely strict rules imposed on the media for this trial, and just to give you guys an idea of how secure they are trying to keep the courthouse grounds, the entire road behind me has been blocked off. They have specific places for protesters. There's also a strict curfew, and nobody can be on courthouse grounds from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. And law enforcement has also secured a separate entrance for KARMELO Anthony and his family to exit and enter the courtroom. So an idea of, again, not only the strict gag order that has been put in place by this judge, the strict media rules, but also the other levels of precaution that are being taken to ensure that everybody in the courthouse and around the courthouse is safe and protected. So keep following along all week, because I will be on the ground covering this trial. Keep following me for more updates.
All right. Shout out to Savannah Frontlines. I appreciate that. Okay. So We are also going to be tapping in periodically with Sarah Fields. Sarah Fields has been on this trial from the word go, from the moment it started. She has been on this and she's been giving an update. This is a very lengthy update. I'm going to leave it down in the description because I don't want to take anything from it. I don't want to, and I don't want to even embarrass myself by reading through this whole thing. It is lengthy. It is stout. So she's doing live tweeting or basically live note taking of what's happening here. And she's done an excellent job. It's been fantastic. And I do want to, of course, give her credit. So I will leave this down in the description for you to go check her out. I definitely want you to check her out and support her. Another content creator I want you to support is Nick at Night. She is there in Texas as well. She looks like she's standing in the same spot Savannah was. So she gave an update in the middle of the day, and then she gave an update at the end of the day. So I want to get, and then last night she did a whole live stream about it. I'm not going to do her whole live stream, but I do want to go with her update so we can kind of compare notes. So you're going to hear Savannah, you're going to hear Sarah when you read what she did, anything on the news, and then you can kind of get hopefully a better understanding of what happened. So let's bring in Nick at Night. Link will be down in the description.
The trial starts tomorrow. If you guys don't know who Carmelo Anthony is, he, at the time of the incident, was a 17-year-old boy who went to a track meet. There was an altercation with another student at like a rival school where they had some words and somebody ended up losing their life. Now, Carmelo Anthony is claiming self-defense, but the other parties are claiming murder. So he's going to be tried as an adult since he was 17 at the time of incident, and we will now see his fate for this trial. I'm not sure if my sound is coming through. It is extremely hot, and I know that the visuals probably isn't the greatest, but
I hear you.
It's hot. I had to come up under the shade because where the lighting looks better, it's too hot. Like the
sun is serious.
But I just wanted y'all to know that I am here, boots on the ground. I'm going to be giving you guys up-to-date information on the trial. I'm going to be letting you guys know what I see, what I hear. I want you guys to let me know, do you think that he will get justice? Now, there is a lot of chatter and a lot of divide online. If you look at any of the comment sections surrounding this, it's really familiar to the tone and the scene that it was for the OJ trial. Now, if you guys remember way back when I was a kid, I was a jit. Everybody was divided by race, right? It was like all the black people over here, and they were like, "Oh, OJ's not guilty," and then all the white people are saying like he's guilty. That's similar to this case. Now, if you look online, there is a lot of undertones of that. With this,
the only pushback I would have is that the OJ trial, there was a lot of nuance to the whether or not OJ did it. I mean, most of us had our opinion about it, but there was a lot of nuance to it. We actually have Carmelo Anthony admitting that he did it. Like there was not any. So to me, I don't know if it's a true pound for pound because the OJ trial was a whodunit. It was here. I mean, Carmelo Anthony's admitting that he did it. So that's not the argument, is whether or not it was self-defense. And therein is going to become the rub. So he already admitted they took the guy's life. That's not the question. The real question is whether or not he's going to be able to claim that he did it out of self-defense, which I don't know how that's going to work. So I'm disappointed it's become a racial issue as well, because I do think that this will be a great opportunity for us to just say, yeah, that young blood did that. He did that, and it wasn't self-defense, and he's got to go. He's got to go. But we're predisposed to do this. So let's go.
And even with the whole Chud the Builder situation, a lot of people are bringing this case up, and they are comparing the two. So I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm here. I'm boots on the ground. I will be here covering this trial for you guys. My tripod is acting wonky. I need to buy a weight. But I want you guys to let me know, do you think that it was self-defense, or do you think that it was cold-blooded? Because a lot of people saying, he was bullied, the guys were bullying him, they were bothering him, etc. And then there are a lot of people who feel as though He was defending himself, and it was simply self-defense. All right, y'all let me know. But I just wanted to do a quick live, let you guys know that I am here. Y'all, it's Sunday. What is what's behind me? I don't know if that's the sheriff or not, but I keep seeing cars driving up and through this courthouse. The courthouse is a very, very large courthouse. I'm not sure if you guys can see the whole thing, but let me try to.
Girl, don't drop your phone now. Don't drop your tripod.
I was gonna do like a full breakdown, but I'll wait. I'll wait till I get to my room and break everything down because it's hot. It's hot. I gotta fix my hair, everything. But
it's real. It's real in the crucible. She's taking one for the team.
The courthouse. Hold on.
You're getting that shade right there, though. You're getting that shade right there.
All right. So right here, that
I like
is
her.
Collins County Courthouse. It is extremely huge. It's extremely large. And we are here the day before trying to see what vibe is it giving. I'm trying to get a feel of what I feel for this town, the area. So far, I haven't seen any Black people yet, but I haven't gone a lot of places. So we'll see. So far, I haven't seen any Black people, but maybe I'll run into Black people somewhere. I'm going to go to the stores. I'm going to, go around, get a feel for the town. I've always traveled to Dallas. This is outside of Dallas. This is more like north, like suburban area.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go around a few places, see what I feel. I've seen a couple people come in and out of the parking lot, but again, I haven't seen anybody, like even when I went to my hotel, checked in, I haven't seen any Black folks yet. So we will.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I appreciate Nick right there. I do want to, she did do a breakdown after the fact, and I think that one was very helpful as well. So I just want to give you a feel for her. Definitely want to support great content creators, Nick at Night. I think she's doing some excellent work out there, boots on the ground. I mean, she's there. You can't beat that. So let's go ahead and bring this one in. I think this is going to be a little bit better. Looks like she found a little bit better cloud cover. So I want to give her that credit. Shout out to Nick.
I do not have my mic today, but
wait, what happened? What happened? Sorry about that. We over here. We getting it together. There we go. Now we go. What's up, Nick? How are you, friend? Let's go.
Okay, I'm back. All right, so hey, y'all. Today I am reporting live from the Carmelo Anthony trial. This is day one where they are starting jury selection. Today, there has not been a lot going on for us to report on. Actually, they have everybody in a secluded room away from the jurors, away from everyone. We can't see anything. It's just us in a secluded room, sitting there, looking at each other, basically. But there is a strict gag order in place. So there is not much, like I said, happening. But before we get into the case, I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the judge, the climate, and everything that has been taken on today so far. So we got here early in the morning to kind of get a feel of what's going on, make sure we get a seat inside the courtroom, and make sure that we are here for these proceedings. When we came, we were met with a lot of other independent media who came out here to cover the case as well. Also, Carmelo Anthony has a big support group of people that are congregating back there. They are peacefully wearing all purple in solidarity or for him, support for him. And there are dedicated legacy media that is in there as well. So the way that we thought that things were going to be happening was that we weren't going to see the jury selection, but we were going to hear the jury selection. But so far, we haven't heard anything. There's no audio. There's no nothing. But I wanted to come to kind of give you guys a brief thing that I've read about the judge. And if you guys don't know, I'm covering the Carmelo Anthony trial. And we're here. So the judge that's presiding over the trial, his name is Judge John Roach Jr. He presides in Collin County, Texas, and he has a long stint as a judge. He has a very, very, very he's like an advocate of like veterans, but he's very, very strict. So here what it has written, it says he is a textbook legalist. In public statements and candidate surveys, Judge Roach has consistently defined his judicial law and not creating it from the bench. Expect a highly literal, by-the-book application of Texas evidentiary and procedural rules. It says that he is a veteran advocate, and it says beyond the standard of the criminal docket, he serves as a presiding judge for the statewide Valor program, which is the Veterans Accessing Lifelong Opportunities and Rehabilitation. And it says that because this case is high profile, they have pulled out all the stops. So this entire court is shut down for only this trial. So there is no other like business happening. They have shut down the entire court to only operate in business for Carmelo Anthony's trial. There is a heavy sheriff's presence. They definitely let it be known that they are no nonsense. They have a bunch of sheriffs right in the beginning, and then they have a bunch of sheriffs inside, and they have like heavy sheriff's presence here. And they are making sure that everybody is by the book, that you can't bring any electronic devices in. You can't bring a cell phone in. You can't bring an Apple Watch in. You can't bring your glasses if they look like they might be Meta glasses. You can't bring in anything that may look like it might be able to record. You can't bring nothing. So everybody had to take their phones to the car. The people who traveled here that didn't come with the car and that came in like an Uber or something like that, they had nowhere for their phones to go. They had to figure it out. They're very, very strict. And
they said you got to figure it out. Hey, you know what? Get it. It will never be said. Frisco said, we are not going to be accused of not making every attempt to do the right thing. That's kind of strict, but I got nothing for it. You got to figure it out, man.
And it's interesting. All of the legacy media that they selected, they look exactly like I predicted them to look. Okay. Like older, generational people, that's who they selected for legacy media. Now around, I want to say after we had been in there for like an hour, in came this woman in a suit, like she just commanded the room, and she was looking for like the front row of seats. I don't know who she was, but she wanted the front row to whoever the people were that was with her, and they wanted to move everybody that was on that side away. They ended up, I guess, not having enough seats to accommodate, so she didn't come in. I don't know if she's in a special room. I have not seen anybody from the Metcalf's family here, but I have seen individuals who identified themselves as Carmelo Anthony's family. It's like 3 or 4 individuals. It's not like his mom or anything. It may be like extended family, but there is a lot of people that are in support. I thought just from the tone of social media and the way that, the online chats were going to be, I thought it was going to be more non-melanated people, but actually there is a lot of people who look like me here covering it. There's a lot of independent media here covering it, and it's not that, aside from legacy media, it's not that many people here that don't look like us, if you get what I'm saying, so far today. But that's just today. The actual trial does not start until Thursday. So they're going to be doing a jury selection all the way up until Wednesday night, There's nothing happening tomorrow. There's going to be a jury selection today, a jury selection Wednesday, and then they're going to start with their opening statements on Thursday. And that's when the actual trial will start. I was overhearing the bailiff. They said that there was roughly about 600 people that were selected to be pulled for the jury. And right now, while we were waiting inside, they basically said that the people that were coming to do jury duty, they were coming to just like pick up a packet. And basically the packet is like a questionnaire on whether they can serve or not serve or whatever the prerequisites are. I don't know what's in the packet, but they were coming, filling out a packet, and then you know, people were coming and going like that. I don't know if they were like excusing people or if they were letting people, you know, leave to go fill out the packet or what have you, but that's basically what is going on. I don't know if you guys can see I'm trying to make it so where y'all can see that it says Collin County.
There we go.
Behind, my uncle is behind the camera, y'all.
Bless his heart. Go ahead, shout out to Uncle.
Because yesterday my tripod was moving every which away. So today I was trying to make sure it wasn't so flimsy. But anyway, so yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on so far. Yeah, I really don't have much. I wanted to have more for you guys once I start hearing, you know, what questions they're going to be asking, when I start hearing like what you know, what they're fishing for as far as the jury, then I'll keep you guys updated. But make sure you put your notifications on, because I'm going to be here covering this case, giving you guys all the ins and the outs of it. You said, is there a crowd? So behind the camera, there is people like at the end of the parking lot, a few people, and then there were like, you know, people here, but they went inside. The gallery for the courtroom that we are in is pretty big. It's one of the biggest like courtrooms that I've been in, so it's very spacious and comfortable. I might add, the seats are very comfortable inside. So
shout out to the comfortable seats.
Let's see what else I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm gonna definitely do a very extensive breakdown of the case. Those of you guys who don't know who KARMELO is, or you don't know anything about the case, I'm gonna do an extensive breakdown. Yesterday, that was my plan, that was my goal, but it didn't work out like that. I was exhausted from flying in,
I can imagine
from all of that rigmarole. So yeah. So all right. So the judge okay. So this case is barely going to trial today, but all the way back in July of last year, the judge issued a gag order. So nobody from his family can make a statement. None of the attorneys can make a statement. And normally in cases, they normally don't have the gag order put in place until trial starts. But this judge put in a gag order to where all of the pretrial motions, all of the any evidentiary things that are coming in, all of that type of stuff is under seal. Normally, whenever there's a case, you can see what the pretrial motions is. If you guys are following the David case in Los Angeles, you see how the prosecution, they put out, you know, what they intend to show at trial. They put out, you know, their preliminary findings. They put, like, we were able to find out stuff about the David case before and what evidence they intend to use. As far as this case, there's nothing out.
You ain't get nothing. You ain't get nothing.
There's no evidentiary stuff, no preliminary stuff, no nothing. So anything that we hear is because we're going to hear it right here and right now. And I guess the judge did that so that, I guess, you know, he can have a fair trial. So we're going to see. I'm going to keep you guys updated. Let's see. So it says, so right here it says that we should expect a highly controlled, tightly managed, Judge Roach is a no drama, no nonsense judge. And it says his courtroom is designed to completely block out the viral noise. All right. So his whole thing is blocking out the viral noise. So that's kind of, you know, why this case has such strict rules to it and everything. later on, like I said, I'm going to go through the case. I'm going to go through more things. I'm going to go through more details. I'm going to show you guys who the defendant is. I'm going to show you guys who the victim in the case is. I'm going to share with you guys the online chatter that everybody has surrounding the case and everything like that. There is a divide on what people believe, as far as some people believe that it was self-defense. Some people believe that there was no business of him to have a knife at the school. So there's people like on extreme ends of it. I seen that there were people who were doing commentary who was rage baiting. People like I seen a particular person who is non-melanated that was trying to make this as racist as possible and trying to rally a particular narrative on the more racist side. So you have that as well. Them trying to rally up like a lynch mob is what it felt like from reading the post. So you have all of that. So I was expecting that it was going to be more non-melanated people inside, which it wasn't, but it's not the official trial yet. The official trial starts, like I said, like the official trial starts with jury selection, but we won't hear any testimony until later on in the week. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. I will definitely be coming to you guys each and every day that I'm here and filling you guys in on what I find. So far, the staff has been friendly to us. There hasn't been like any mean staff, even though, you know, they may have a particular look, they're not mean. None of them have been mean. Like if they...
Okay, I'm going to go over very quickly just a little bit of what Sarah Fields said. Shout out to Sarah Fields, because I do think this is super interesting. I did remember that she mentioned this. I was scrolling, sorry. So she says this. So approximately 11 a.m., we decided to leave. Nothing was taking place inside the viewing room. The screens remained off and there was no proceedings being shown to the public. Day one ultimately consists of jury processing, questionnaires, and administrative matters. From the courtroom perspective, it is largely uneventful. From an observational perspective, however, it is interesting. And at least one individual was escorted out over allegations of jury tampering. I will return on Wednesday for the continuation of the jury selection. So I heard that they're not doing anything today, being Tuesday. It's kind of wild. Hopefully by then, the pool will have been narrowed significantly and process of selecting the final jurors will begin in earnest. Okay, I wanted to go over that just because I thought it gives a good rule of the land. I mean, there's not a lot happening at the moment. And I appreciate Nick. I appreciate Savannah. We'll be definitely tapping in with Sarah to get an idea of what's happening. But at the current moment, not a lot is happening. There is no court today, Tuesday. So Wednesday, they'll be back for jury selection and questionnaires and culling the herd, so to speak. So we'll be back on Wednesday. But if anything pops up, anything new happens, I'll definitely tap in. Thank you so much for checking out what's going on. Let me know what you think. So we'll get that conversation going down in the comments. Do you agree that this is self-defense? Especially if you're in Texas. Not if you're in self-defense somewhere else, but if you're in Texas, do you agree that this is self-defense? And what do you think is actually going to happen? Why do you think they went to trial if they could have just pled out? Could they have pled out? Should they have pled out? What do you think? Comment down below. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for liking. We're up to a great start for the month of May. For the month of June, please forgive me. We're off to a great start, so I'm looking forward to keeping that going. Thank you so much, very much for that. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.